Making me crazy. All right, guys. Good morning. It's that time. 9:05. This is one of our last Monday meetings together. We won't have too many more meetings like this. So I'm kind of grateful to be here with you guys today. So a few announcements before we get going. One of the first things I wanted to talk about was report cards. So I told you a little bit about this last Thursday. My understanding is that for me, report cards are due next Thursday. Okay, so what that means is that, well, it means nothing for it. That in and of itself doesn't mean anything to you. What the implications are for you, though, is that you need, if you have work that you want to turn in, if you are not happy with your grade, you have between now and say next Tuesday, I can probably do report cards in 2 days. You have between now and next Tuesday to put your efforts into changing your grade, to craft the grade, to earn the grade that you want to get. So again, report cards for me as need to be turned in next Thursday. That means probably take me about 2 days to do report cards. So I will give you until next Tuesday to make up any work that you need to be made up. What that will require in some cases, for those of you who had submitted work and like, I did crappy there, that doesn't reflect who I am, you'll need to text me. You will need to say, Cholono, I want to redo the Velt, okay? And I will unsubmit it for you and say, go get them. And then you'll resubmit the work and I will happily regrade said work, okay? But you have to, if you've already turned it in, you have to let me know. Any questions about that? None? Beautiful. Okay, I will say, just to be super clear, as of next Tuesday, and I think that will be my deadline, and I mean Tuesday at 12:01 a.m., I will not take any more work under any circumstances, all right? So you have between now and Tuesday to make that up. So what that means for us as a class as it pertains to the work we're doing. Today, I believe, and I'm going to ponder this a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to change my mind on this. In fact, you know what? I'll go ahead and say this is written in stone. Today is our last lesson. This is the last assignment that you will get for my classroom. So what that means is that you have a lot of time to work on two things. A, the aforementioned missing work or crappy work. B, it also is a time that you can be working on Miss Kim's work. My understanding is that she has given you an end of year project. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so I'd like to help you out with it. My understanding is that there is a writing portion. Is that correct? Someone say yes.
Yeah, we had to do it.
Thanks, brother. Thank you, Harold. There's a writing portion. I would like to help you out with that. So what I'm saying is in between doing any work for me that you need to make up or improve, you may also share your writing with me. All right. I will be a part of that Google Classroom that she has created, and I will be more than happy to help you out. More than happy. There's my Alexa. Oh,
gosh, that looks
so
so
good
bad.
to see you. So I would be more than happy to help you out in that. All right. So let me say all that stuff in summation before we have some fun. Grades are due next Thursday, which means my cutoff line for accepting work is next Tuesday at 12:01 a.m. Okay, that means when I wake up, I'm doing report cards. I'm not doing any more grading. So you have until Tuesday, 12:01 a.m. to complete any missing work, to redo any crappy work. And if you want to redo crappy work, you have to contact me so I can unsubmit it for you. So the other thing is that we just went over, I will be helping you with Miss Kim's work. Please reach out to me to help you. Okay, I know you need the help with it, and that's what I get paid for. I want to help you with it. All right, I want to make your lives a little bit easier. I know it's probably a challenging project. I think that sums up what I've said. So I'm asked once again, are there any questions?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Beautiful. Then maybe I did a halfway decent job there. All right. Fantastic. Well, just to get ourselves warmed up today, we'll start off with a Kahoot. I'm going to share my screen now. And here is today's Kahoot. So in the coming months and years in high school, you are very, very, very definitely going to run into an author known as William Shakespeare. All right. So this is just my little introduction to you. William Shakespeare wrote, I believe, and forgive me if I'm wrong, in the 12th century. All right. So several hundred years ago. And this particular Kahoot is comparing things he said with the things rappers have said today. You have to decide. You have to decide whether it's Shakespeare or a rapper. All right. Here we go. I love this one.
You better not be the one who said, good job, good job,
Dude, already?
Say friends, let me hold your ear. And Romans, let me hold your ear.
Oh,
Say
no.
countrymen, let me hold
Yo,
your ear.
that shit is really irritating.
Oh no.
I didn't come to fight, see I came to bark, but the whole
What is that?
You see, as
Popo.
far as I'm concerned, it's cool with me. You see, Brutus and the boy must know what they do. Run around to ruin, cause Brutus is cool. Caesar did was to rolling out the world and put some bronze in the palm of every boy and girl. But the man so chill that when they handed him the crown,
I didn't know you could change the Kahoot music. This is a little disturbing.
But Brutus is cool. I say chill, homeboy, my heart's with Dr. J. So let's get busy till it comes this way. Doctor was taken to the bridge. Pap, 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 pap.
The faster you get in, the sooner I can turn this off.
Now the last little Caesar scene before homeboy Blue was to drop some old gold on each one of you. JC was your father, JC was your brother, and what I want to know, when comes such another great Caesar's ghost? A great Caesar's ghost. He's chilly low from coast to coast. A great Caesar's ghost. A great Caesar's ghost.
Oh Lord. Water pizza, delicious. Oh, please sign in so I can turn this off.
Say friends, let me hold your ear. And Romans, let me hold your ear. I say countrymen, let me
Okay, 30 seconds.
Twins, but they call me Mark. I didn't come to fight, see I came to bark. But the holes that the brothers put in Julius C, as far as I'm concerned, it's cool with me. You see, Brutus and the boys must know what they were doing.
All right, I'm gonna start this off. I can't take it anymore.
Please do.
All right, here we go. Shakespeare or a rapper? I love this one.
I want to go get my toes done.
Who said it? Shakespeare or a rapper?
Obviously, Donald Trump.
Bro, that's in the man.
Bruh,
Who is
oh
it?
my god.
Who is it?
It was rapper.
Yes, but do you know who? I thought someone said who it was.
6ix9ine.
Nice. All right, here we go. Oh, I love this.
Obviously a rapper.
Ooh, Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
Sounds pretty rappery. I like it. There's my new adjective for the day. Oh, Toronto God. I'm rooting for you.
Shallona's not a god.
That's for sure.
What the f?
Oh, isn't that an awesome line? One may smile and be a villain.
You have something in your head.
I love it. Oh, that hurts. Go get him, Johnny.
I wish to be a bird. Sure, God, let's go.
Yes. Finally.
Nice.
I want to.
Ooh, Johnny hanging in there. Here comes Angie.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I love the picture.
Nice. Definitely Shakespeare. All right. Oh, Johnny fell out. Angie on
Johnny.
Fuego.
Let's go. I didn't answer.
Men at some time are masters of their fates. That's very Shakespeare. Always talking about fate. Johnny coming back onto the scene. Angie staying strong. Holla,
Hola,
holla.
Rappers trying to speak Spanish.
I'm not going to lie. If Shakespeare said holla, holla, I'm going to be really floored. All right. Oh, Angie staying strong. Fantastic.
No, Spanish.
What the hell? Does Angie know Shakespeare or something?
That's right. It's my girl.
I don't think Shakespeare would say that. If he did,
Oh,
you're
nice.
crazy in the head. Exactly.
Almost there.
That's my head right now.
No. I feel Shakespeare to me.
I bet Shakespeare used auto-tune.
Oh, it's a rapper.
What
Damn.
the hell? That sounds like Shakespeare talk.
All right, here comes Johnny.
Australian.
Here's Johnny.
I didn't cry because
It burnt. It's a
the rapper. Shakespeare doesn't. Yep.
Wrong.
All right. Angie, you gotten a lot right in a row there. You're kind of piquing my suspicions here. All right, number 11.
Shakespeare.
Does sound kind of Shakespeare-y, doesn't it?
Shakespeare looks weird.
Jose, you would know weird, definitely. It's a rapper.
He smells like.
See how we're doing here. Angie still holding on. Last one.
That's an ill phrase. Shakespeare.
Definitely Shakespeare.
Ill.
All right, guys. Here we go. The podium.
John.
Nice, Johnny.
I wonder who it is.
Shakespeare on. That's my girl.
Kimono came in fourth place.
All right. Excellent job, guys. So here, I'm going to close out of this. Sorry. Forgive me here. Really well done. Closing Kahoot.
Let's finish this. I'm about to end this man's whole career. Done. What career? But I'm not a rapper. What career? Look.
All right, guys. So I'm moving a little bit. Hey, guys, I don't need the sound effects. I'm not up for it. I'm exhausted today. All right, guys. So we're going to move into what may be and probably is our final assignment of the year. I have signed into Common Lit. I am going for the millionth time. I'm going to point out some of the tools that you have available to you. You have the ability to have this story read aloud to you. Okay.
The Devil by Guy de Maupassant, 1903.
Okay. You also have the ability to have this story translated into the language of your choice. So there are absolutely no excuses for not doing outstanding work. In addition, pardon me, question?
No, I was messing around.
Okay. In addition, I have also included today a scaffold for you. So let me read the title once again, the author, the directions, and then introduce you to the scaffold. The Devil by Guy de Maupassant. Guy de Maupassant, and he was the one who wrote The Necklace, was a French writer famous for his mastery of the short story. His writing often depicts human lives and social forces in pessimistic terms. In The Devil, Guy de Maupassant follows the last few days of the dying mother Beautemps and her deal her son makes for her care. As you read, take notes on what motivates characters' actions. I will say that again. As you read, take notes on what motivates the character's actions. And this is the question you're going to see at the end. Even though La Rapée and Honor disagree throughout the story, describe what perspective they have in common. So these two characters have a motivation or perspective in common. You need to identify that. All right? And we'll come back to the scaffold a little bit later as I go over the questions with you. Let me go ahead and jump into the story. Again, it's The Devil by Guy de Maupassant, and we are reading and taking note on character motivation.
Guy de Maupassant.
The peasant was standing opposite the doctor by the bedside of the dying old woman. She calmly resigned and quite lucid at them. Excuse me, guys, I'm going to start over. The peasant was standing opposite the doctor by the bedside of the dying old woman, and she, calmly resigned and quite lucid, looked at them and listened to their talking. She was going to die, and she did not rebel at it, for her life was over. She was 92. So we have this older woman here. She's 92, and she's not fighting death. She's accepted it. The July sun streamed in at the window and through the open door and cast its hot flames onto the uneven brown clay floor, which had been stamped down by 4 generations of clodhoppers. The smell of the fields came in also, driven by the brisk wind and parched by the noontide heat. The grasshoppers chirped themselves hoarse, filling the air with their shrill noise like the wooden crickets which are sold to children at fairy time. We have a setting here. And the setting seems to be story set on a farm in the country. Seems pleasant enough. Birds are chirping. It's a warm day. Grasshoppers doing their thing. The doctor raised his voice and said, Honor, you cannot leave your mother in this state. She may die at any moment. And the peasant, in great distress, replied, But I must get my wheat, for it has been lying on the ground a long time, and the weather is just right for it. What do you say about it, mother? And the dying woman, still possessed by her Norman avariciousness means greedy, replied yes with her eyes and her forehead. And so she urged her son to get his wheat and to leave her to die alone. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to reflect on what my charge was when I started reading this, what the directions were. And that was to make note of character motivation. So what quality is motivating these characters right now?
Wheat.
Wheat? Wheat is a quality. Okay, I'm going to help out a little bit. I'm going to call that one based on it's early in the morning. I'm going to help you. So, characters motivated by greed. Mom is dying, and all he is thinking about is collecting wheat. Not only that, she feels the same way. She's like, yeah, dude, go get the wheat. That's crazy. If I was dying and my son was next to me, the last thing I would want him to do is leave me. But the doctor got angry, and stamping his foot, he said, you are no better than a brute. Do you hear? And I will not allow you to do it. Do you understand? And if you must get in your wheat today, go and fetch Rapé's wife and make her look after your mother. I will have it. And if you don't obey me, I will let you die like a dog when you are ill in your turn. Do you hear me? So the doctor is not having any of this. Right. He's not having any of this. He's like, dude, you got to do right by your mom. Go get someone to be with her. The peasant, a tall, thin fellow with slow movements, was tormented by indecision, his fear of the doctor, and his keen love of saving. More evidence of
Greed.
motivation. Greed, greed, greed. His love of saving. Hesitated, calculated, and stammered out, how much does Le Rapé charge for tending to sick people? How should I know? The doctor cried. That depends on how long she is wanted for. Settle it with her, by Jove. But I want her to be here within an hour. Do you hear? So the man made up his mind. I will go for her, replied. Don't get angry, doctor. And the latter left, calling out as he went, take care, you know, for I do not joke when I am angry. And as soon as they were alone, the peasant turned to his mother and said in a resigned voice, I will go and fetch La Rapé, as the man will have it. Don't go off while I'm away. So don't die while I'm away. Very sweet. And he and he went out in his turn. So here we have our first guiding question, which I will model for you. It says, why is the man, Honor, going to get La Rapé? So why is the man going to get this woman, La Rapé? The doctor needs a second opinion before diagnosing his mother. No, there's no evidence of that whatsoever. He wants a second opinion. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. The words second opinion are nowhere in this story.
There is no opinion.
There is no opinion, right? His mom's dying. She's 92. The doctor forces him to get someone to care for his dying mother while he leaves the house to collect the wheat. Okay, that is stated right here. I will not allow you to do it. You need to go get that woman. Let's read the last one just in case. He wants La Rapet to tend to his wheat while he tends to his mother as she dies. No, this guy wants,
Bruh.
right, exactly. Bruh is the correct response. C is the correct answer. La Rapet, who was an old washerwoman, watched the dead and the dying of the neighborhood. And then, as soon as she had sewn her customers into that linen cloth from which they would emerge no more, she went and took up her irons and smoothed the linen of the living. So this woman, her part-time job is to hang out with people while they're dying. That would be a lot of fun. Wrinkled like a last year's apple, spiteful, envious, avaricious, with a phenomenal avarice bent double, as if she had been broken in half across the loins by the constant movement of the iron over the linen. One might have said that she had a kind of monstrous and cynical affection for death. Struggle. Okay, sorry, that was ill-read, but I want to talk about this. Okay, so what we have here is description of the old woman. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is this. She had kind of a monstrous affection for death, the death struggle. That's kind of a disturbing quality.
The title.
She likes watching people die. But there's something else here. There is a word, we see some repetition here. Does anybody see a word that's been repeated? It's not a word that you normally know, but I defined it for you. And we've seen it before. Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Avarice. Does anybody remember what I said avarice meant?
Greed. Greed.
Thank you very much. Beautiful, you guys. Beautiful. So, sorry, I'm going to make a note on that. Who else was greedy?
Old woman.
That's the old woman. Who else was greedy? Oh, the old woman who's dying? You're absolutely right. And the main character, the man, Honor. Okay, so she is greedy like the old man and, like the son and the old woman. I will remind you that one of the things that you were supposed to find was the character motivation, okay? You just found it, greed. They are motivated, their perspective is greed. Keep that in your head, you'll need it for the writing. She never spoke of anything but of the people she had seen die, of the various kinds of deaths, and at which she had been present, and she related with the greatest minuteness details which were always the same, just like a sportsman talks of his shot. That's sick. When Honorable Temps entered her cottage, he found her preparing the starch for the collars of the village women, and he said, "Good evening. I hope you are pretty well, Mother Rapet." She turned her head around to look at him and said, fairly well, and you?" "Oh, as for me, I'm as well as I could wish, but my mother is very sick." "Your mother?" "Yes, my mother. What's the matter with her?" She's going to turn up her toes. That's what's the matter with her. Sorry, I love that phrase. So when it says she's going to turn up her toes, what does that mean?
Dying.
Yeah, she's going to die. She's going to turn up her toes. Sorry, no. Little misspelling there. I'm going to let it ride. The old woman took her hands out of the water and asked with sudden sympathy, "Is she as bad as all that? The doctor says she will not last till morning." "Oh, then she is certainly very bad." Honor hesitated, and he wanted to make a few preliminary remarks before coming to his proposal. But as he could hit upon nothing, he made up his mind suddenly. "How much are you going to ask to stay with her till the end?" So he is asking her to watch his mom die. And remember, while he does the wheat, or does is not very well put, brings in wheat. "You know that I am not rich, and I cannot even afford to keep a servant girl. It is just that which has brought my poor mother to this state. Too much work and fatigue. She used to work for 10 in spite of her 92 years. You don't find many made of that stuff nowadays. So she was a tough woman and she worked hard." La Rapet answered gravely, "There are two prices, 40 sous by day and 3 francs by night for the rich, and 20 sous by day and 40 by night for the others. You shall pay me the 20 and the 40. But the peasant reflected, for he knew his mother well. He knew how tenacious, how tough, how vigorous and unyielding she was. He knew, too, that she might last another week in spite of her doctor's opinion, and said resolutely, "No, I would rather you fix a price until the end. I will take my chance one way or the other. The doctor says she will die very soon. If that happens, so much the better for you, and so much the worse for me. But if she holds out till morrow or longer, so much the better for me, and so much the worse for you." Oh, let's take a look at this. So, greedy. And I'll just put my favorite swear word there. He is calculating how to save money. So she watches the dying and she charges like a daily rate. He's saying, "I don't want to pay a daily rate. I'll pay you a one-time sum. Okay, instead of paying you by the hour, I'll just give you $10 total." So this guy is trying to cut corners with his mom dying. Again, why is he doing this? What quality describes him?
Greedy.
There you go, guys. The nurse looked at the man in astonishment. So she had never treated a death as a speculative job. She hesitated, tempted by the idea of possible gain. She is tempted, even though she recognizes this as wrong, because she is greedy as well. But almost immediately she suspected that he wanted to juggle her. And I'm going to assume that means like fool her. "I can say nothing until I've seen your mother," she replied. "Then come with me and see her." Okay, so let's look at this next question. And you guys are going to answer this one, and I'm going to call on somebody. What does La Rapet want to see Honor Bontemps' mother? So let me read that again because I misread it. Why does La Rapet want to see Bontemps' mother? Take a look at that. And then I'll call on somebody. Get ready, Doyle, because I'm going to call on you. Give you guys about 30 more seconds.
Bro, I got that wrong answer because I forgot my
All right.
screen is touch screen.
Doyle,
Yes.
why does Laura Pay want to see Bontemp's mother? What answer did you choose?
D.
Yeah, I chose D.
That's absolutely correct. She wants to know that she is making a good deal before she agrees to the job. Again, she's thinking this guy might be trying to fool her. Your evidence is right here. Outstanding. Okay. I'm going to read one more section with you. Then come with me and see her. She washed her hands and went with him immediately. They did not speak on the road. She walked with short, hasty steps while he strode with his long legs, as if he were crossing a brook at every step. The cows, and I think what this is implying is he is hurrying to get back. Why is he hurrying to get back? Is he worried about mom?
No, he's worried about the weed.
Doctor.
Oh,
Oh,
God,
the doctor.
I love you so much. You're absolutely the best. He's worried about his wheat, smart girl. That's exactly right. The cows lying down in the fields, overcome by the heat, raised their heads heavily and lowed feebly at the two passers-by, as if to ask them for some green grass. When they got to near the house, Bontemps murmured, "Suppose it's all over." And the unconscious wish that it might be so showed itself in the sound of his voice. So at this point, he hopes she's dead.
Damn.
Not because he dislikes her, but why? Why does he hope she's dead?
Because he's greedy.
Because he's greedy. He doesn't want to pay this woman. Because he doesn't, forgive me, my typing sucks today, want to pay. And forgive me, I've forgotten her name. Oh yes, that's La Rapé. La Rapé. He is French. All right. But the old woman was not dead. She was lying on her back, on her wretched bed, her hands covered with a pink cotton counterpane, horribly thin, knotty paws like some strange animal's or like a crab's claws, hands closed by rheumatism. Rheumatism is a form of arthritis, fatigue, and the work of nearly a century, which she had accomplished. La Rapé went up to the bed and looked at the dying woman, felt her pulse, tapped her on the chest, listened to her breathing, and asked her questions so as to hear her speak. Then, having looked at her for some time longer, she went out of the room, followed by Honor. His decided opinion was that the old woman would not last the night, and he asked, "Well?" And the sick nurse replied, "Well, she may last 2 days or perhaps 3. You will have to give me 6 francs, everything included." So, because La Rapé is also greedy, she's trying to negotiate a better deal. Damn. 6 francs! 6 francs! He shouted, "Are you out of your mind? I tell you that she cannot last more than 5 or 6 hours."
Damn.
And exactly, Alexa. Dude, your mom is dying. Just pay the money. I'm just putting dude. And they angrily disputed, and they disputed angrily for some time. But as the nurse said she would go home, as the time was slipping away and his wheat would not come to the farmyard on its own accord, he agreed to her terms at last. Very well then, very well then. That is settled. 6 francs, including everything, until the corpse is taken out. That is settled. 6 francs. And he went away with long strides to his wheat, which was lying on the ground under the hot sun, which ripens the grain, while the sick nurse returned to the house. She had brought some work for her. She had brought some work with her, for she worked without stopping by the side of the dead and dying, sometimes for herself, sometimes for the family who employed her as a seamstress, also paying her rather more in that capacity. So I think what's happening here is that the author is underscoring the idea that she is, what is she again?
Greedy.
She shares this characteristic with the other 2 characters. She is greedy. She is earning extra money while watching woman die. So essentially, she's doing 2 jobs at once. And I think you can make a pretty good ethical and moral argument, like, your job is to watch a woman die. Maybe you should just hold that woman's hand and talk to her. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be trying to make extra money on the side. Have you received the last sacrament, Mother Bontemps? The old peasant woman said no with her head, and La Rapet, who was very devout, got up quickly. Good heavens, is it possible? I will go fetch the cure. And she rushed off to the parsonage so quickly that the urchins in the street thought some accident had happened when they saw her trotting off like that. So, question for you. So, first of all, do you guys know what the last sacrament is?
Yeah.
Your last rites? Am I assuming that this is your silence as a way of saying no?
No.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. It's so nice to hear a voice. Okay, have you received the last sacrament? The last sacrament it's a religious ritual for the dying, and when you're about to die, you confess your sins, and I'm not a religious expert here, but you once again profess your love for Christ and all that. It's a Catholic ceremony. Now, is this a nice woman? Guys, this is not my hard question for the day. Is this a nice person?
No.
Thank you. So why do you think she's going to, what reason would she have to do this? Harold, what do you think? I know you're out there, or Johnny.
Because she thinks that's gonna be the cure, so that's gonna make her survive long.
Now they have a fixed price, Johnny. I see what you're saying. They have a fixed price. In other words, no matter how long this woman lasts, no matter how long she lasts, she's only getting 6 francs. So does she want her to live longer?
No.
Right. So she thinks that this will accelerate death, making her more money. Oftentimes, if you're taking your last sacrament, you're doing your last rites, you're probably really accepting the fact that you're really on death's door, and it might accelerate the process. You're not fighting it anymore. The priest came immediately in his surplice, preceded by a choir boy who rang a bell to announce the passage of the host. through the parched and quiet country. Some men worked at a distance, took off their large hats, and remained motionless until the white vestment had disappeared behind some farm buildings. The women who were making up the sheaves stood up to make the sign of the cross, genuflect. The frightened black hens ran along the ditch until they reached a well-known hole through which they suddenly disappeared, while a foal, which was tied up in a meadow, took fright at the sight of the surplus and began to gallop round at the end of the length of its rope, kicking violently. The choir boy in his red cassock walked quickly, and the priest, the square biretta on his bowed head, followed him, muttering some prayers. Last of all came Laura Pe, bent almost double, as if she wished to prostrate herself, to flatten oneself on the ground. She walked with folded hands as if she were in church. Again, my opinion, I say she's full of crap.
Yes.
Yeah, you agree? I'm not buying it. This is not, I don't think she's like, oh, I gotta save this woman's soul. I don't think she thinks about people like that. Oner saw them pass in a distance, and he asked, where's the priest going to? And his man, who was acute, replied, he is taking the sacrament to your mother, of course. The peasant was not surprised at all. This is quite possible. And he went on with his work. What did he just find out? I'll wait. Santos, please, brother. What did he just find out? What's happening to his mom? This is disconcerting, ladies and gentlemen. What did this guy just find out? Someone.
That she's gonna receive the sacrament.
Why?
She.
This is not a hard question. I'm not trying to trick you.
This be
What's
the-
about to happen?
She's about to die.
Holy cow, guys. Blessings. Mom about to die. What does he decide to do?
Get on with
Working.
work.
He, can I copy here? Edit, copy. Ooh, I can. He, maybe I can't. He went on with his work. Wow, just wow. Mother Botems confessed, received absolution and extreme unction, and the priest took his departure, leaving the two women alone to suffocate in the suffocating cottage. Laura Pe began to look at the dying woman and to ask herself whether it could last much longer. The day was on the wane, and the cooler air came in stronger puffs, making a view of a pinole which was fastened to the walls by two pins, flap up and down. The scanty window curtains, which had been formerly been white, but were now yellow and covered with fly specks, looked as if they were about to go fly off, and seemed to struggle to get away, like the old woman's soul. Lying motionless, with her eyes open, the old mother seemed to await the death which was so near, and which yet delayed its coming with perfect indifference. Her short breath whistled in her throat. It would stop altogether soon, and there would be one woman less in the world, one whom nobody would regret. So please take a look at this question, and I will call on one of you to answer it. And I think I'm going to call on Cassandra. So please take a look at the question, and I will call on you momentarily, Cassandra. Why is the priest brought to the cottage? It's a right there question. If you put D, you need to see your doctor or pharmacist immediately.
That's some magic, bro.
That would be some magic, bro.
Needs to heal the devil inside her.
B.
That's explaining the title.
All right, Cassandra, what's your answer, girl?
It's B. To offer mother temps for forgiveness.
That is absolutely correct. And let me see if I can find our evidence. Forgive me. Received absolution. So it takes a little knowledge, but there's your evidence right there.
I mean, but
And
like it's saying it in general though. Like to
Yeah,
see
yeah.
and pray for his friend who has died. That's not a friend. Take
Right.
over the nursing duties of La Repette. No, Repette's gonna still stay there for the money. And then to hear the mother, that's just something off. And then to offer mother bon temps forgiveness before death. That's what La Repette came.
yeah,
to
that's
do.
thank you so much, Harold. You're exactly right. It says it in general, and what you're talking about is using a process of elimination. Okay, the other ones don't make any sense whatsoever. Well, this one does. Okay, so we only have a few paragraphs left. Please, we're right here. Am I correct here? I'm sorry, I'm just confirming 3 to 4. Yes, we're right here. Please finish the story on your own. I'm going to stay with you. I'm going to read it myself, and I'm going to be taking notes myself. Everybody, please finish the story, and I will call on one of you to give me the final answer. Oh my God. Nice typing, Steve. Wow. I suck. Repetitive. You do 2 more minutes to finish. Mariah, I'm going to call on you to answer question number 4. And Cassandra, you'll be my backup. No need to answer it yet. Again, you have 1 more minute. All right, it's 10:05. Did you guys have time to finish that story? Or do you need more time?
I think we're good.
Everyone's good. Okay, Mariah. So, do you have, at the end of Mother Bontemp's life, what are the people with her, what are the people who are with her concerned about? You still out there, Mariah?
Yeah.
So are they concerned about a funeral, her belongings, germs, or money?
The money.
The money. It's all about the money. Ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
That is absolutely right. All right, guys, we completed the whole story together. So we can go ahead and go on to the assessment questions. There are only 5 assessment questions today. It is a very short assignment. Number 5, once again, is a writing question. The writing question is this. Okay, I'm going to read it to you right now from the top here where you'll find your scaffold. You can also find the scaffold on Google Classroom. It says, even though Laura Ray and Oner disagree about throughout the story, describe what perspective they have in common. How does this commonality, in spite of their disagreements, develop the theme of the story? So, what is their commonality? What is their shared perspective? Who can answer that for me?
Being greedy.
There you go. Being greedy. Okay. So when you get to number 5, you're going to want to support the idea that what they share is greed by giving examples of their avarice or greed, which is, of course, the theme of this story. Greed, what it's mainly about. It's not about death. It's not about the devil. It's about greed and or avarice. All right, guys, go ahead and begin the assessment. Even though you can see it right here. And I will happily stay online with you guys while you do this if you'd like. If you have any questions about any of the questions, I want you to end on a really strong note here. All right, please ask me. If you get confused by a question, I'm here today. I'm going to stay all the way up until the very end. All right? All right. So let's all get an A on this one. This is a great example of, I can see how it might be perceived as a difficult question, but as Harold was talking about, this is an awesome example of a process of elimination. There's only one remotely possible answer. The rest are insipid. Number two, you're going to have to identify which of these is an example of the theme that you identified in one. I'm expecting everybody to get an A on this. Very straightforward. Yep, this has ending with an A written all over it. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm here for you, friends.